Hello and welcome to another Magic Spanners video. We're breaking format today because we're servicing a BMW 318 and we're going to do oil change, pot filter change and oil filter change and pollen filter change, and these are the parts we're going to be using. And the tools you'll need is an oil wrench. You don't necessarily need one of these, but an electric socket wrench, a 17mm socket, 8mm socket, a 10mm socket, a T20 torque screw socket, obviously oil filter, air filter and pollen filter and oil. So once the car's on the ramp like so, we'll go underneath and start draining the oil. We're underneath the car now, and if you locate the service flap, which is here, you just turn the lock mechanism till the flatheads, allowing it to drop down. I can remove it out the way, so just remember to put it back, and then you can see, where is it, the drain plug, which is not there, it's here. It's a 17mm socket, so you turn it lefty loosey and the oil will start flowing out of there. But before we do that, let's go back up top and remove the oil cap. So that's the oil cap removed, so the oil will flow freely. Let's go back underneath. So once you've got a suitable container ready underneath, we're going to start undoing that plug and the oil's going to flow. Okay, I've loosened off the nut, so it's just hand loosen it now. But be very careful because this vehicle's been for a run to get the oil nice and warm, so it is going to be a bit warm when it comes out. And this is always a fun part. Let's get that into position like so, and we'll start draining. Here we go. That's the oil draining. I've caught the sun plug here, put that somewhere safe, and before we put it back in, we'll renew the washer. It's always good practice. So I'll just put that over there, and while that's draining, we'll go and do some other jobs on top. So one of the jobs we're going to do is change a pollen filter, which is located just under the wipers of the car, and it's 8mm socket for this. You just undo these bolts here. Six in total. So we just collect these up over here and put them somewhere safe a bit. That one will drop down somewhere. I got it. And go around to the other side. No cameraman today, so you're gonna have to bear with me. The pollen filter will just lift off now. Like so. Yep, and this one hasn't been changed for a while. So we'll just get the new filter out of its box and swap out the cartridges. The old filter just clips, there's 3 clips on top of it. You bend them back a bit and it'll come out. Give that a little shake, get all the debris out, and compare that to the new one. I mean, come on, This ain't been changed for years, but there we go. So that clips back into there. So that's the new filter almost in, it's got to clip it back in now. There we go, that's ready to go back on the cart. So that's the pollen filter back in its place. All that needs to be done is the bolt's got to be tightened up. 6 bolts altogether. A lot of people don't change the pollen filter because they're tight-hearted, but I like to do a proper job. You change them every 2 years. But
it's a proper hill, this isn't it?
just a little bit. So that's that done. Next thing I'm going to do is change the air filter. Now this is the housing for the air filter, and basically that's got to come off. There's T20 tall screws here, here and here. 2 10mm bolts that's got to be removed here, and then this kind of bridge piping comes off, and the whole thing lifts out. So I'm going to do that off camera. It's going to be a bit tricky to do it while I'm recording at the same time, and I'll see if I can do it. So once you've done them 3 torque screws here, here and here, it just basically comes away from here, and just put that out of the way somewhere. Gonna need a flattening screwdriver to remove that clip, and then the whole, oh, you got to unplug this as well. That'll clip out. That wire there, it comes out, and the whole air filter casing comes out. So once you've undone that band, just use a screwdriver to get that off. This also clips out, and inside there's a plug which you just pinch and unplug, which I'm going to find hard to do with one hand, so hang on. So under the air filter box you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 torque screws. Just undo them and it opens up. So once you've undone them 6 screws, it just come apart. There's the old filter, here's a new one, so you just pull that out. 2 hands again, so hang on. There you go, the nice new one's back in there. Nice snug fit. There's the old one. Bit of a difference. And then you just put the bottom back on and screw the torque screws back in. There's 6 of them. They're over there. So I'll do that and get back to you. So that's the air filter back in. The 10mm bolts are back in. The 6 torque screws are back in underneath. The map sensor cover is back in. And that air hose is clipped back in. It's a bit of a fast to change the air filter on a BMW 318. And a lot of garages do skip it, because it's not easy to check that you've done it, because you've got to do all that just to have a look at the filter, and they charge you for it. So that's why I encourage people to do it yourself, because it's not that hard. So the last thing we're going to do is change the oil filter, which is here. So now we're doing the oil filter. Just get your oil filter remover on here and give that a turn. And then just keep turning it, and you should get some more oil come out the bottom. It's important to change the gaskets on these as well when you put the new oil filter back in. There's an O-ring across the top, and there's the old oil filter, and that should drain off into the bottom of the car now. So that's the new filament gone into the oil filter. The O-rings have all been changed and a coating of oil on the new O-ring, and that just screws back into the housing like so, and that's the oil filter changed. So after putting a new washer on the slump plug, it's time to put that back in. And careful not to cross the thread. And then you just use your socket to tighten it up. So hang on, two hands again. So that's the sump plug back in, and just put the service cover back on and lock it up. There we go, and just time to put the oil back in. Now it's time to put the oil in, and it takes 4.3 litres of oil, so we're going to do that. There we go, just putting the oil in. Just take your time with this bit because it's the last bit. Like I said, 4.3 litres. Start the engine up, let the oil circle round, and I've got to put that piece back on as well. And that's it, just replace this cover back with the 3 torque screws we took out at the start, and that's how you service a BMW 318. Ta-da!